A wrench is a common hand tool used to tighten or loosen nuts and bolts. Every wrench has two parts, the head, and the handle. The head of the wrench is used to grip nuts or bolts. The handle of the wrench is where you will hold the wrench when tightening or loosening fasteners. All wrenches will tightly grip the head of a fastener. Once the head of the wrench grips the fastener, you can rotate the wrench to tighten or loosen the nut. Wrenches have long handles. The long handle gives you more leverage than other tools. More leverage makes it easier to tighten or loosen a fastener. You will use your dominant hand to hold the wrench. The handle of the wrench will run across your palm and in between your thumb and pointer finger. Your fingers should close around the handle. Recall that a longer handle gives you more leverage. Hold the wrench near the end of the handle for the greatest amount of leverage. When choosing a wrench, you will choose one that is slightly larger than the diameter of the bolt head. Recall that we measure bolts in inches. For example, you may see a bolt measured in 4 by 16 inches or 1 by 4 inches. Wrenches have two types of sizing, imperial and metric. In an imperial wrench, the measurement is in fraction of inches like 1 by 4 inches and 9 by 16 inches. In a metric wrench, the measurement is in whole millimeter figures like 10 millimeters or 8 millimeters. When you mount the head of the wrench to a fastener, the nut or bolt head should be deep into the jaws of the wrench. In the picture to the right, you can see proper versus improper contact. Always make sure the jaws are secured to the nut head. If a wrench is not the correct size or it is not properly placed on the fastener, the wrench can slip off the nut or bolt. When the wrench slips off the nut or bolt, it is called wrench slippage. Wrench slippage can injure you. You will be applying large amounts of force to the handle when it slips. To avoid wrench slippage, make sure your wrench is the correct size and in proper contact with the bolt or nut. It is also important to not pull the wrench at an angle to the fastener. You should be pulling the wrench at a 90-degree angle to the fastener. It is important to pull the wrench towards you when tightening or loosening a nut or bolt. Pulling the wrench towards you reduces the risk of injury. If the wrench slips, you are not at risk of slamming your hand into an object. When you try to loosen a nut or a bolt, the nut and bolt may spin at the same time. If this happens, the nut will not loosen even as you rotate the wrench. To prevent the nut and bolt from spinning at the same time, we use a technique called a holdback. A holdback is when you grip the nut with a wrench, and the bolt with another wrench. One wrench prevents the bolt from rotating. The other wrench is used to loosen the nut. Holdback helps prevent the nut and bolt from moving in the same direction. In this module you learned what a wrench is, how to use a wrench, and what wrench holdback is. Wrenches are excellent at tightening or loosening large nuts and bolts.